안녕하세요. 저는 조수입니다. 감사합니다. 9MUSES. I watched this really great documentary film. It's on YouTube. And it's the 9MUSES of Star Empire, I think is what it's called. But it was so fascinating, man. Like, it was so good. It's a really good documentary film. And they're an earlier generation group, right? I believe that they are a second generation group, and the look that you get into like the industry at the time and all of that, you know, it's just like it's fascinating stuff, man. And there's definitely like a lot of change that has taken place since the second gen, right? Because everything is just, you know, very different, like very, very different. The documentary is essentially the group like leading up to their debut, right? So the company has recruited the different members, and they have a training schedule, and so they're going through with the staff, with the management, with the company leadership and all of that, to get everything in place for their debut performances and things like that. And man, it's like you know, if you it's pretty wild, right? Like, because I started with third gen. That's, you know, and it was a great contrast, because I started with twice, right? So I started with this 9-member girl group, and I had to, you know, go and watch the 16 series. So I saw how that group was selected, the process for it, the work, the preparation leading up to the debut, right, and all that. And then I went back and watched that documentary about 9MUSES, and it was like, oh, another 9-member girl group, a different company, a different time, you know what I mean? And so between the two, it's just like this crazy good, you know, contrast, right? That shows you so much. Like, really, I was like, oh my goodness, it was completely different, right? And man, you can't help but, you know, end up with liking the girls and liking the group. But just, you know, you really feel for them, because it was quite tough, man. Like, it was, you know, to really see like how demanding it was, and the things that they had to go through and all of that, and the different sort of things that were significant at the time, I guess, like when from the perspective of the company, the things that they were looking for, big difference, right? Because in this group, it was kind of like, it was a time when the aesthetic was probably the most significant aspect, right? And even the people who were working for the company had said that. They said, like, well, what's important is the look, right? It's all about how this group looks. And so these members were selected from essentially a catalog of models, right? Like, all of the members had done modeling work, and it was because they were looking for a particular sort of type, like, you know, a tall, slender, pretty girls, right? Like, that's what they were going for. And so it's a very different dynamic as far as the group itself, right? Many of them had like their own interest. Like, they were like, yeah, I'll do this. I'm here to do this K-pop group thing, but as a means to reach a different end. Like, some of them wanted to be in acting, some of them wanted to do more modeling. A couple of them wanted to do the K-pop thing in music. A couple of them wanted to do that, but everybody had a different end game. Everybody was like, you know, sort of focused on ending up somewhere else. So while they weren't really like they were friends. They all had a good disposition towards each other. They, generally they came together and they were, like nobody was really like enemies or whatever. That's not it. But the dynamic is still very different from, say, a group like Twice, where from the start it was like, no, this is all about who wants to be in a K-pop group and who wants to do the music thing and who wants to do it the most, like out of everybody that they brought, right? And so, and it's a totally different dynamic within the group, because Twice is very much like they're like a family, like they're like sisters, like they're all like really care so much about one another and they're so close, right? So it was a crazy, contrast between the two groups based on the time in the industry and, all these different aspects. But if you haven't seen the documentary, I recommend it. I will try to remember to link it in the description also for this one, but sort of a long preamble. But that's why I'm choosing to check out 9MUSES today. And this one's called Dolls. I haven't heard this one. The only song that really gets featured in the documentary was their debut song. So that's a different track. Maybe I'll check that one out too later on. But I thought it would be cool to see, something else that they did that was a little bit down the line from when they debuted, to see what the sound went to, like as far as everything, just the whole thing in and of itself. So 9MUSES, Dolls.
너 가버린 후로 맘이 허해져서
Oh man, that's fantastic. That's so good, dude. Jazz, funk, R&B. Um, what a like. I, I'm thinking because the only thing I've heard, like I said, is that Playboy song that was the debut track, and man, like this is very very different in terms of the style, and it's really good. It's good. Like I'm happy because seeing how they started and everything that they went through or whatever in that documentary, and just to see that they got to this is like it's really cool, man. It's really cool. um there was some absolutely fantastic vocal work in here, man. Some very strong voices that sounded great, and there was a rap section too. Like, it's so much more sophisticated the than what I remember from the documentary about the debut track, right? Like it's a completely developed sort of sound, and it's great. It's great. It has such a great style. Such a continuity. So, really really awesome instrumental parts. Chord progression's great. The guitar sound is it's so cool, man. It's funk guitar that's going on. The great brass, the horns, the horn sounds, man. They're super cool, dude. Like everything in this track is great. It's good, dude. Like, this is great. Um, yeah, man. This is fun. It's fun. It's just like, because I was rooting for them, of course, in the documentary. And by the end of it and everything, I was like, oh man, these girls are so great. And I don't know if it's the same lineup. I know even in the documentary, like before they even make the debut, there's a member that has she's out of the group, and then they have to bring a new member in. And this was a different time when things were kind of done differently. But what I'm seeing also is the way that it was explained in the documentary is that you have, they were very sort of straightforward about it, and they said like, you're gonna have a group with 9 people, and some are gonna be talented or more talented, are gonna have a more musical talent, and some aren't. You know what I mean? Like, they were kind of like, that's just the way it is. But this is like much more impressive, man. This is really really good. Like, and I'm starting to see the way things go now is you have like, okay, well, here's your main sort of vocalist line, here's your main dancers, here's your main rappers, right? Like, it kind of, you have these sort of different sections of the group, and they have their different strengths or whatever. And but I'm already seeing that, you know what I mean, from when this was. It's dated from 2013. I don't know if that's exactly when the song was released, but you can already see the things that probably inform the third generation groups then, you know what I mean, as far as the way all of this is structured. But this is it's really like super interesting for one, and it's very fun, and it's very cool, and I actually feel very happy that they developed this sort of really excellent sound and style and feel and everything. They're like, this is really good. This is really good, man. So like that intro sound was so wild. It sounded like a guitar that had all kinds of effects on it, like all kinds of delay effects and tone effects, and it was probably like cut up into different parts, not a very concise idea there, just a very sort of abstract sort of jumble of sort of sounds and stuff, but then it goes into this very strong groove, man. I know it's in 4. It's got that pop percussion, super punchy drums, like really it's quite big. The percussion sound on this is actually really big, and it's super punchy too. So you have that strong accent on the 2 and the 4. The snare hit is like a really strong snare hit, but it sounds great. Like it's not overdone or whatever. It's just a big sound. It goes very well with the brass, with this big, huge like horn sound that's going on. That actually is a great part too. It's a great sort of in the rhythm section, right? And then this actually very busy guitar work. It's a little bit, like you kind of have to listen carefully to really pick up on everything that the guitar is doing, at least in this music video. It probably sounds a little bit better on the album, a little bit cleaner, right? But it's very, very busy, very like actually really good guitar playing on this. It's definitely a funk style they're leaning into. So the guitar, almost has, it's like there's a touch of a percussive element to the way that the guitar is played in funk stylings in general. And this is a very, very experienced application of that style of playing. So whoever the band is on this is like, they're really good. So I also hear, it sounds like an electric piano also. So you've got your percussion section, or your drums, right? You get your drums, then you have an electric piano sound that's going on a little bit left. And they're just playing whole notes really on the chord progression. So for your 4 count, you get the chord dum, bum, like just it's holding it out for the whole measure. Towards the end of the phrase, it starts to play half notes, and so it's going through, but the chord changes become a little bit faster towards the end of the phrase. And then you also have the guitar part. Now that's panned right, and it's a very good mix. It's like it does have sort of an old school like throwback kind of feel to it, but it's also very, very fresh still. Like it just doesn't feel like it was like you could do this song even today, and I don't think it would. I mean, I think it would do well. You know what I mean? Like I don't think it would seem like out of place or whatever. It's actually really, it's really good, man. It's really cool. Great vocals. That's so good.
시간 속에서 나를 조금씩 찾아가
So like the vocal work on this is it's really good, man. It's really good. The beginning of the second verse section there, right? Her rhythm was not easy. Like that was not an easy rhythm to pull off, man. It was like a step or two before you're actually rapping. I mean, you know, the syllables that she had and everything was, and she had to deliver them so quickly, but she didn't drop anything out. And oh man, and yeah, like the power also on the next some of the other vocal parts in here, like these are strong. They have the strong voice. Their lead singers, right? Their lead vocalists are strong, dude. Like they have plenty of power in the voice. And it's super cool. It's a super fun mix, dude. This you know, and you start to get more, it starts to get a little bit busier, right? Second verse, there's a little bit more of these little licks and little parts going on in the mix, like in the piano. The guitar stays busy the whole time. And then the vocals too, like you start to get these little ad libs, these little, you know, different hits, these little licks and everything that come out in the vocal parts. So all of their, you know, voices, strong voices that, you know, like to do that sort of stuff, you know, you start to hear them more. So it develops quite well from the first verse into the second verse. Like, this is good. This is really good, man. This is really good. And also that the way that the beat drops, you know what I mean? They do that every time that they're gonna wrap up like a verse section and move into the chorus section, and it's a very cool. It's just a stylistic thing, mostly for the sake of the song. It's part of the song structure, but it's very cool, man. It's very well done. What a great rap section too. Like she's good, dude. She's good. She's really good. Like, it's just. It's blowing my mind, right? Like just to really have this awesome second gen group, like, and also just because I watched the documentary and sort of saw how much they went through to start it, just to see this, you know, to think that like they got to this, like they got so good, man. They got so good, like. It's really cool. It's a fun thing. It makes me feel good. It's a cool thing, man. I'm really super happy that because I know they're not around anymore, but you know, just to know that they really sort of came into it, you know what I mean, and that they were really this strong, right? I guess this is really good. It's super cool. Everything's so good. It's so competent. This is just they were good. They were good. They were so good, man. And I just love it. I just you know what I mean. It's just because I root for most groups. I want everyone. I want them all to do well. So when I see this and I put this together with their beginnings as I saw it, and it's just like it's super fun. It makes me feel really happy, man. This is so good. This is a great song. It's a really nice harmonization. Really good harmonies. Oh, so good. So, dude, those ad libs on that last phrase, right? That outro sequence. So good, dude. So good. The harmonizations were so good. Their voices stacked so well together, man. And those strong, high notes and vocal ad libs that were just going off, man. This was so good, man. This was so good. Uh, I really didn't know what to expect, because I had only heard that one track that's featured in the movie, and it's a different style. It seemed it's a much more simple type of song. Like it's not this sophisticated. Just and this is as a take from the documentary and the things that were explained in the movie, that they were trying to put something together without without necessarily having like lead vocalists and having a rapper, and like these elements weren't really established in the documentary anyways. But hearing this, it's like this is it. Like they had everything. They had it's the total girl group package. Like they're not missing anything. They're not missing anything at all. It's a fantastic song. It's such a groovy track, man. I love it, dude. This sort of like jazz, funk, R&B type of styling that's going on. This great mix. What a great instrument selection too, dude. The percussion is awesome, right? Super punchy and powerful. That killer funk guitar that's going on, the electric piano, it just fills out the rhythm part. But there are certain little things, little arpeggios and different sounds that it just throws in that just accentuate the mix so well. The absolutely bright, big brass parts that come in, those horns that are going on. This is a great song, dude. This is so good. Like, I feel hyped for the group. Even, you know what I mean? And I realize that this is retrospective. I'm looking back at something that has already happened. But I genuinely am like really, really happy that 9MUSES developed to this point, right? Because this is a great song. This is a great performance. I'm like impressed. I'm genuinely like impressed by this. Just seeing from what they started with, and like and I knew they could do it. You know what I mean? Like I'm watching them, I said, "Oh, you guys can do this. You girls can do this. Really, you can. I know you can." So this, to see this is super fun, man. It's super fun. What a great performance. A great song. A killer vocal work, dude. Killing everything. Killing the singing, the melodies, the high notes, the ad libs, the vocal licks, the rap section, killing it all, dude. Like, this was so good, man, so good. And I just feel happy for the group to know that they just developed into having this really strong sound and style. It's super cool, man. It's super cool. What a great song too. This is really good. I'm gonna have to check out more. Obviously, right? We're gonna have to still have a lot to go through as far as second gen groups, but I definitely want to take the time to go back and hear some of this. This was so good. This is fantastic. This is fantastic stuff, man. And there's a whole bunch of groups from this generation that I have to check them out, because I know they're all good. Like, I know they're all this good. So yeah, definitely gonna be doing that. But 9MUSES, Dolls, it's so good, dude. It's this is such a fun song, and they're fantastic, man. They're this was I, I'm just blown away by it, man. I'm just blown away. It's really really fun. It makes me feel good that they just had everything so together and so well developed, and I can definitely see how this informed, how the second gen informed third gen. It's a different route to get there, definitely, but now I'm like, okay, um yeah, but second gen is just fantastic. They're so good, dude. 9MUSES, Dolls. What an excellent song by a fantastic group.